Okay. You are asked to create the chart. On your exam, you don't get marks for it. Okay, so if you don't want to use the chart, you don't have to. Did we go over the chart yesterday, how to build the chart? Okay, so make sure you have your charts out while we're doing the rest of the review. Okay, so when I say, what's the key signature for? Blah, 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 you can answer me. Okay, so we're going to go over scales. Did we go over scales yesterday? Right. You need to know which is which. So let's write a few scales. To start out, we're going to write a scale. And then what I want to do is I'm going to write the scale, and then I'm going to show you the triads and such that are associated with that scale. Okay, so we're going to do it all together. So what scale do you want to write first? Pick a scale, any scale, preferably major. G major. So we're going to do the G major scale. So when you're writing this scale, especially if it says to write with a key signature, the first thing you need to do is figure out the key signature. So we're going to do in the treble clef, G major. What is in the key signature of G major? One sharp, good. Make sure you're listening and not talking, okay? Because if you're talking, then it's going to distract other people who want to learn. So we have one sharp and it happens to be F sharp. What note do we start on for G major scale? G, and then we draw all the way up to G. What always goes at the end of a scale? Big reminder, please. You get a mark for drawing a double bar line. Even if you don't write the scale, I will give you a mark for putting in the double bar line. Please do it. A lot of these packages I was going through, no double bar lines. Okay? You ladies are guilty of that. No double bar lines. Put them in, okay? Make sure. There's always a double bar line at the end of the scale. So here's the G major scale using a key signature. So we have our F sharp. Now, how do I build a G major tonic triad? What does tonic mean? First note. So a tonic triad is going to start on G. Okay, so a tonic triad starts on G and ends on D. So it looks like a snowman. There's my tonic triad. When I'm doing a tonic triad, I'm actually writing 1, 3, and 5 of that scale. Okay, so notice from the scale, 1, 3, and 5 builds the tonic triad. What if I wanted, I'm recording this and putting it on the website, by the way.
Oh, okay.
But if you want to record it, you can.
Like with the video and everything?
Yeah,
Oh,
talking, video, the whole thing.
Okay.
Yeah. So 1, 3, and 5 creates the tonic triad. What if I wanted it to be a 7th chord? What do I add in to make this a 7th chord? The 7th note. I know that seems like really easy, but it's true. Okay, so if I wanted this to be a tonic 7th chord, there it is. But what do I need in front of that top note since it's an F? Sharp. Now I've got a 7th chord. Okay? When you take it all from the scale, it's really quite easy. And I think sometimes that happens with theory, that people think it can't be right because it seems too easy. But a 7th chord, literally you just add the 7th note. Okay? Everybody can remember that? Very good. Okay, so there's a 7th chord. Now, what about an arpeggio? What do you add for an arpeggio? Does anybody know that? I don't think you have arpeggios on the exam, but we should just learn it so we have it in our brains. Because it's easy. An arpeggio just adds the 8th note. So instead of having them all piled on top of each other, you just write them separately, and you add the 8th again. So that's an arpeggio. So you're using 1, 3, 5, and 8 for an arpeggio. Okay? Any questions so far? No? We're good? Okay. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to get rid of all this, and we're going to move into using Roman numerals with our triads because I know you all hate it. Okay, so our tonic triad, what Roman numeral do we use for tonic? 1, looks like an I. So there's our tonic triad. We already had that one. Sorry, it's very hard to write on here and make it look pretty. There you go. So there's our tonic triad. What if I wanted a subdominant triad? Where would that start? Fourth. Good. So this is nice because I can find my fourth note very easily looking at my scale. 1, 2, 3, 4. There it is. So we're going to start right there and build a snowman. So there's my fourth. And what's the last one that we talk about often? It's a dominant fifth. So there's 5. So we're going to start again on our 5th note, which is very clear when we look at it on the scale. And there is our triad. All of these triads are in root position. So think of roots, like a tree has roots, that's where it starts, okay? They always start in root position, and root position looks like a snowman. Okay? If I play Jenga and I take the note from the bottom and I put it on top, what inversion do I end up in? First inversion. And then you can play Jenga again, take the note from the bottom and you put it on top and you end up in second. Good. So, sorry, I should have moved this over a little bit. I'll put it back in after we do this. Okay, so first inversion, it's still a tonic triad, but I'm going to take the note from the bottom and I'll put it on top. It's still a G. The note name does not change. It is still a G. I'm taking the exact note and putting it on top. That's in first inversion. So what number do I put beside that 1 to show that it's in first inversion? 1, 6. Why do I use a 6? Good. The interval from the bottom to the top is now a 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The top note is now a 6th away. So that's why we put the 6 there. So if you can't remember what that number is, if you count from the bottom to the top, you'll figure it out. Okay? That's just to help you remember. Now we're going to play Jenga again. I'm going to take the note from the bottom and I'll put it on top. Now what inversion am I in? Sorry. Second inversion. Yes. So these two notes are staying the same, and the note from the bottom is going on top. So it's still a tonic triad because when it's in root position, it starts on the tonic note. But now I'm in second inversion. So what numbers do I use to illustrate that you're in second inversion? 6, 4. So again, now the two notes that have been moved are a 4th away and a 6th away. That's why we use those numbers 6 and 4. So if you forget what those numbers are, once your triad is in second inversion, count, and you'll find the numbers. Okay? Any questions about the terminology here? Like the 6 and the 6, 4?
This is triads, right?
Triads, yeah. So is that clear?
So really the only thing you can use is 1, 1, 6, and 1, 6. What's the V6?
That's if we're using a dominant triad. Okay, so remember we already talked about that. So what is the, sorry, we're in G major. Do I need any sharps? No, I'm good. Yeah, exactly. So we're still in the key of G major. Now we're going to do the dominant set of chords, or the subdominant set of chords. So I'm going to erase my tonic just because I don't have room. I just want to keep that scale above so we can always see what we're going back to, okay? Because no matter what triads we're doing, they're still a part of the G major scale. So in G major, the subdominant triad is going to start on what? C, which is the 4th note right here. Okay, there's our 4th. So we're going to start on C. I'm going to use low C just because it's easier to invert up, okay? So here's low C, and then I'm building my snowman. So now we're still in G major, but we're starting on the 4th note of the chord, building a snowman. So that is a subdominant or 4th chord in root position. Now we're going to take the note from the bottom and you put it on top, and we're going to end up with what? Just a 6. Okay, first inversion. Now I'm going to take the note from the bottom and I'm going to put it on top. But the other ones stay in the same spot. And now I have a 4, 6, 4. Good. So the second inversion, double bar line. And we still don't have any F's, so we don't have to worry about that lovely F sharp. Okay? If you don't want to ever have to worry about the accidentals, just put in your key signature. Because if I put this here, now I don't ever have to worry about it. I've got a key signature. Yes? You can start in whatever C you want. Yeah, you can start anywhere you want. Okay, so now I'm still in G major. Still in G major. Now I'm going to write the dominant set of chords. So what number is dominant? 5. Okay, so the 5th note here is what? D. So we're going to start on low D again just because it's easier to invert up. Build my snowman. So now I want to write a 5/6 chord. What do I do? Good. Take the note from the bottom and you put it on top. Now I'm in 5/6 form. Now to get to second inversion. Yep. Oopsies. And there it is. And that one's going to be called 5/6 4. Double bar line. It's beautiful. So does that make it a little bit more clear how to find all those chords within the scale? If you always refer it back to the scale, it somehow makes more sense. Just keep looking at that scale. We're still in G major. So I've left the F sharp there, so we didn't have to write the F sharp in. Now if the F sharp wasn't here in my key signature, then obviously I'd have to write in the F sharp everywhere that it appears. Okay? So if you don't use a key signature, if it's asking for accidentals, you've got to write it right into your triads. Okay? Any questions so far? Okay, so now I'm going to do the same thing, but with a minor. It's exactly the same, except it has a raised 7th. So really it's not very different. So maybe I won't do the full set, but we'll do a couple of them, okay? So what minor scale do you want to choose? Choose something with a few flats or sharps, just so it's a little trickier. C minor? Okay, so we're going to do it in the bass clef. What's in the key signature of C minor? So B, E, and A. Remember that the flats have specific places. They have their homes where they have to sit on the lines. Don't put them anywhere else. Okay? So what is this? C minor? So what note are we going to start on for our scale? C. Sorry if some of them are not quite in the right spot. It's really hard with this. Oh, sorry. They're not in the right spot at all. Okay, so bass clef, we will start here. Thank you. I'm a little bit dozy today because I was up late doing a DVD of the musical and the show. If anybody's interested in having one of those, a recording of you playing. Okay, there you go. So what kind of a minor scale is this? Good, it's a natural minor. Now, when we do things using minor scales, triads, arpeggios, 7th chords, whatever it may be, we always use the harmonic minor because that's the most common form of the scale. So if we're not otherwise told, you're always assuming that it's the harmonic minor. So how do you change into a harmonic minor? What do I need to do? Raise the 7th. So in this case, the 7th note is what? B flat. So how do I raise? There's B natural. So in red, I've got the harmonic minor. Okay? So all the work we're going to do below is all going to be referred to the harmonic minor. So we're going to make sure everything matches the harmonic minor. So I'm going to go ahead. We're not going to worry about drawing the tonic and subdominant chords. We're going to go directly to the dominant chords because that's the only one where that harmonic raised seventh really gets in the way. Okay, so what is the dominant root position chord in C minor? Where am I going to start? G. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's the fifth. So that's where we're starting, on G. So we're going to do low G. Okay. So I have no key signature right now. So do any of these notes need to be flat? Or any of them B, E, or A? Sorry? The middle one would be B flat, but in this case, because it's raised, it would be? Yeah. So we're using this note, and whatever would be above here. Okay? So we need this to be natural. And that's the biggest thing when you're doing a minor key, that fifth or dominant chord, you're going to find the seventh in the middle of it. Okay? So remember that raised seventh. You're only going to see it in the dominant form. Okay, so if it's tonic or subdominant, don't worry about it. If it's dominant, the raised seventh is in there. Okay, so now I'm going to take this and I'm going to invert it. So what do I do? Good. Take the note from the bottom and you put it on top. Still natural. And now it's a dominant what? 6. Take the note from the bottom, put it on top again. And this is a dominant, yeah. Okay, so those are your dominant inversions in a minor scale. Now, how do I make this minor scale melodic? Good. 6 and 7 needs to be raised. So in this case, the 6th note, what is it? A what? Minor. Yeah, we're looking at minor right now. Yeah. It's A flat, so how do I raise it? Okay, so there is the melodic in purple. And then on the way down, they would go back to flats. Okay? Did you want me to write a full melodic scale, or are people clear with that? I think we've done a lot of scales, especially by the time you play them all a million times in class. It's pretty clear. Okay? Any questions about triads and their inversions? No? Any questions about natural, melodic, or harmonic scales? No? We're good? Okay. Now, what if I wanted a 7th chord? What would the 7th chord look like in this key? Let's do a dominant 7th. What would a dominant 7th look like in this key? So we're starting on the dominant, which is what note? G. So there's my 1, 3, and 5. What would the next note be? Yeah. Just got another piece. And then, of course, you'd have to add in your accidentals. So any B flats, but, of course, this is minor, so that's going to be natural. A, nope. E, nope. There you go. That's your dominant 7th. You're just adding a 7th note. Okay? Any questions? No? We're good? Next, we are going to do cadences. Cadences, again, I feel like it's something people make a very big deal about and find very complicated. But if you do it step by step and you know the concepts, it shouldn't be. Okay? It should be relatively simple. Just kidding. No, it is hard. It is hard. But no, but they're all the same concepts we just did. So, here we go. So the big thing with the cadence is it's always using the grand staff. So you've got treble clef and bass clef, and you can put this little brace thing if you want to, but I'm trying to keep as much room as possible. So what key do you want to do a cadence in? Pick a key, any key. Pick something with some sharps or flats or something.
D flat.
D flat major. Okay. So we're going to do D flat major. What kind of a cadence do you want to do? You want to do a perfect or a plagal?
Perfect.
Perfect. What's the difference between perfect and plagal? Perfect is 5-1 and plagal is 4-1. Okay? Perfect is 5-1, plagal is 4-1. So we're going to do a perfect cadence in D flat major. What's the key signature for D flat major?
5 flats.
So battle, ends, and down goes. Battle, ends, and down goes. So there you go. We have 5 flats. It is perfect. So we're going to go 5-1. So here's 5. Here's 1. Okay? So in D flat major, what notes are we going to use for the number 5 chord? What's the dominant chord? So D, E, F, G, A. Good. A would be first. And we always double the root. Okay, so we need 2 A's. A, then what else? C, and E. Good. Of course, there's flats in there, but we're not going to worry about that because we put them in the key signature. So one less thing to think about. What goes in the tonic chord? D, D.
F and A. Where do you get the C and E?
Yeah, you're always, remember when I showed you have the scale and you're using 1, 3, and 5? So every other note. So A, B we don't use, C we use, D we skip, E. So 1, 3, and 5. You can literally do it on your fingers. A, C, E.
So from the A,
These three.
you always go up?
Yep. Yep. So now with D, so here's D. We don't use E. We use F. Don't use G. We're going to use
A.
A. Good.
So you find the dominant and then you go up.
Yes.
First one?
Just like building a triad, just like we did with the triads. It's exactly the same thing. Okay? So we've got our notes. I'm sorry, Zane, were you asking me something?
I asked Chelsea.
Okay. Okay. Okay, so when we're writing these in keyboard style, the bass clef part is super easy because you're just taking the first note. So the A and D are going to go in the bass clef. You can put them anywhere you want. So I'm going to go like this. I'm going to start here, A and D. There they are.
Where'd you get the D on the other one?
Here, because it's a tonic chord and we're in D flat major. So again, it's D flat. I just said because we have the key signature and we're not worried about flats and sharps. We've got a key signature. Okay, so there's our bass. And the bass will always be the same. You're always just taking that first note, boom, boom. There they are. Bass is done. Okay? Now we're going to place one of these chords. I don't care which one. You can either do the first one or the second one. I don't care. So we need A, C, and E. Do you want it to be in root position? Do you want it to be in first inversion? Do you want it to be in second inversion? Where do you want the notes? Do you want the A high or low? Low. Okay. So we'll put A, like here, second space. Is that where you want it though, second space? There it is. Where do you want the C? Do you want it on the middle line or do you want it in the third space? Middle line. Okay, here's my C. Where do you want the E? Perfect. You want it to be in keyboard style. You have to envision that a piano player needs to play that with one hand. So if you'd put that E at the top, that'd be like, you'd be going like this. That'd be like that story with Mozart where he had to play one note with his nose. Okay? So envision they're trying to play it with one hand, so you want those notes to be close together. They should either be in root position, first inversion, or second inversion. So what's this one in? Is it root? Is it first? Or is it second? First inversion. Yes, we have that one in first inversion. Okay, good. So A, C, and E are placed. Your first chord is done. Second chord. The first thing you need to check, is there a note that is exactly the same in both of these chords? A. A needs to stay in the exact same spot. So here's A. So this is really the trickiest part right here. Your A is going to stay in the exact same spot. Okay, so now my A is done. From there, the other two notes need to move as little as possible. So either they're both going to go up, or they're both going to go down, or one's going to go up and one's going to go down, but they only want to move one position. Okay, so how do I draw the D at the closest possible point? Am I going to put the D up here? Would that be close? No. Where am I going to put it? Right there. Okay, because that's the closest possible place. So there's my D gone. Now where do I put my F for it to be the closest possible place? Am I going to put it up there? No. Put it right there. And that's it. You're done. So what inversion is that? Root. Okay, so you've gone from first inversion to root. So once you double that note, put one in the exact same spot, the other two just move as little as possible. You just want them to end up in the closest possible spot. Okay? Let's do one more in keyboard style. Yes?
Why did you start on C on the bottom?
Here?
Yeah.
These ones, when we placed them, we just placed them wherever we wanted. I didn't have to start on C. I could have started on A. I could have had these two notes up here, but it would have changed where the other chords were, right? So you place this anywhere you want as long as it's like either in root, first inversion, or second inversion. Put them wherever you want. And the second chord is the one that you follow through with. Yeah?
Okay, so how do you figure out the four letters?
Okay, the letters, the first one is a dominant chord. We're in D major, so count on your fingers, D, E, F, G, A. We're starting on A, that's the fifth note.
Oh.
Okay? So that's why we got the A. You always double the bass. And then C and E would be the other two notes if you drew a snowman, 1, 3, and 5. So A, B, C, D, E, 1, 3, 5. Okay? And that is the tonic, so starting on D. Okay, let's do one more. Let's do a minor. Somebody pick a minor key. Okay. G minor, what's in the key signature of G minor? So battle ends, battle ends. We are doing G minor. Do you want to do plagal or perfect? Plagal. So plagal goes from what? 4 to 1. Okay? You always end on the tonic. You always want it to feel finished. So ending on the tonic makes it feel finished because that's the first note of the scale. Right? Like if I was singing you a song and I was saying do fa fa do so do fa fa mi re. It wouldn't sound right. You want to hear do fa fa do so do. Then it feels like it's the end because the tonic note. That probably was more confusing than helpful. Never mind. Okay, so we are starting on 4. Forget that ever happened. And we're going to 1. There we go. So what's the fourth note in G minor? G, A, B, C. Okay, double the bass. And then C, D, E, F, G. So C, E, and G. What's the tonic of G minor? G. You double it. G, then B, and D. So everybody's good finding those notes? Okay. What goes in the bass? Sorry? C and G. C and G. Okay, shh, don't chat, okay? Because you want to know this. So C and G, we've got the bass notes done. Where do we want the C in the treble clef? Third space or middle line? Where do you want the E? Third line? Okay, first line. And G? C, E, and G. So we're in root position. Fourth. Okay, So we've just put those in root position above. Again, it's a keyboard player, so you want their hand to be able to reach. Okay? Now, which note is the same in both?
G.
G. So G is going to stay in the exact same spot. How do I make the, where do I put the B that it's as close as possible?
Middle line.
Not really. Because this is the same. Okay, so is this note going to jump up to the third line, or is this one going to jump up to the third line? This is the same. So you want it to be in the same position. Okay, you want it to be the top note.
Below middle C.
Okay. Below middle C. And the D is going to go like up here?
No, like above.
Oh, sorry. That's it. What do we do in minor keys? Raise the seventh. Do we have a seventh here?
No.
You're done.
Sorry.
If it were perfect, there would be.
So perfect in minor.
Yeah, perfect minor, because you're using that fifth chord. Anytime you're using the fifth chord in minor, watch for the seventh. But you know what? As a rule, anytime you're doing minor, just check for the seventh. That way you're not going to miss it. Like whether it's plagal or perfect or whatever, just check for it. Because if it's not there, well, at least you checked, right? Just as a rule, just check for it. But that's it. That's it for that cadence. Any questions? Is that easier than you thought it was? No? Okay. So I'm going to have it in open vocal style, which we don't do as much of, but you need to know how to do it. Okay. So same thing. We've got treble clef and bass clef. Somebody figure out what key we're doing this in. I don't care. Maybe we should do a minor, where we're doing 5 to 1. Perfect. Yeah.
Minor.
Okay, so what minor are we doing? B minor. You don't care? Okay. So B minor, what's the key signature of B minor?
2 sharps.
2 sharps. Awesome. Okay, and often I'm pretty sure the one on your exam will just do one in that kind of a form. So I think they give you the top notes.
Miss Wilbur,
Yeah?
how do we know if it's perfect or
It'll say.
it'll say okay?
It'll say in the question. Perfect. Okay, so number 5 chord in B minor. What are we starting on? F. So we have F, F. What else? And C. The number 1 chord, B, B, and F. Okay, so I'm going to give you this. So I'm saying this is the top voice. This is the soprano voice. So you know soprano is the top voice, okay? Here's the soprano line. So we want to put in alto, tenor, and bass. So alto sings in the same clef as soprano. So the alto is going to go here, tenor is going to be up here, and bass is going to be up here. So what do we put in the bass line? What's our bass line? F and B. So we'll go, our basses are going to go like this. Bum, bum. That's what they're going to sing. Okay? There we go. And I've already given you the A sharp, which happens to be the raised 7th. That was pretty nice of me. To the B. So what do we have left to play? So we have an F and a C. So do we want the tenors to sing F, which would be the exact same note as the basses? Or do we want the altos to sing F? We'll make the altos sing F. Perfect. And again, it's got to be lower than the soprano line. So then what are the tenors going to sing? Middle C. Good.
So you don't, like between those 2 notes, you don't ever want to go above or below?
Yeah, you want the bass to be the lowest and the soprano to be the highest. Yeah. So you've got to keep the other ones in between. Very good. So now the two remaining notes in the second chord need to follow as closely as possible. So which of these notes is closest to the F? We've got a D and an F. F. It's got to repeat. And now the other voice is going to go from C to D. There's your tenors. Done. Yeah, there is one like that on the exam. Okay? And of course, our raised seventh is already in there because that was given. So everything in black here is what would be given, and you would have been writing in what was in red. Yeah. Yeah. So remember, the soprano line is the highest, the bass is the lowest, and the others have to fall between. You had some like that in your work, too, that you did, where you had to have it an open score like that. So as long as they're following nicely, make sure you always repeat the one that's the same. The bass always has the very first bum, bum, okay? And other than that, you're just following from whatever you chose for the first chord, and whatever you choose for the first chord is up to you. I don't care. As long as you follow through with it nicely, I don't care what you do for the first chord. It's your choice. Yes?
Why wouldn't we put the D in the triple clef? Because it has to follow the voice? Like the...
Yeah. Well, yeah, because if a singer was singing, you can't start giving them a different clef here.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah, the tenor, I get it.
Yeah. It's just like your instrument. We wouldn't say, oh, well, you're playing a low G way below the staff, so we're going to write it in the bass clef.
Okay.
That would freak you out. So it's just like you playing an instrument. Okay? Any questions? You feel more comfortable with cadences? Good. I'm going to look at your... So what is the relative major of A minor? C major. So what is a relative major minor? It just has the same... C, yeah, same key signature. So on your chart, they're right across from each other, relative major minor. What's an enharmonic note? Enharmonic. Anyone? Yeah, it's the exact same note, but they have different names. So what's the enharmonic spelling of C sharp? D flat. What's the enharmonic spelling of C double flat? C double flat.
Sorry, B sharp. I was going the wrong way.
C double flat. B flat or A sharp.
Yeah, I know. Like yeah.
Okay? So follow on a keyboard. Pardon me? Keyboard, piano. There's a keyboard on your exam.
But like that's what.
Yeah, use the keyboard. Okay? Like that. Okay, let's see here. Oh, a double sharp raises a note how many semitones? 2. Okay, so let's go over the time signatures, because I know you guys hate that. It's all about the number on top, so I'm not even going to write numbers on the bottom, okay? So really the ones we're looking at are 2, 3, 4, 6, 9, 12. Okay? 2 and 6 are what? Are they duple, triple, or quadruple? Duple. 3 and 9 are triple. 4 and 12 are quadruple. 2, 3, and 4 are simple or compound? Simple. 6, 9, and 12 are compound. Take a second to internalize that. Internalize. Duple means 2. So in six time, the reason it's 2 is because they're in groups of 3. Compound is always in groups of 3. So 6, 8 time would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's 2 beats. Okay, so it's a duple. 2 groups of 3. Whereas simple, it's simple. You see 2, it's 2 beats. Okay? Okay, so you have that internalized? Bless you. 3/4 time is simple, triple. Good. 6/8 time is, thank you, Alyssa. Compound, 6/8 time. Compound duple. Compound duple. Only think about the top number. Don't think about the bottom number. 2/4 time is simple duple. 12/8 time is compound quadruple. 4/4 time is 4/4. Simple 4. Think of a 4-wheeler, a quad. When you go quadding, you have 4 wheels, right? I found a lot of people had a hard time just knowing what duple, triple, and quad meant. So duple is 2, like a duet. Triple is a trio. Okay, triple is 3. Quad means 4. So think of a quad like that you ride, you know, with 4 wheels, a quad. Okay, so 4/4 time is awesome. 9/8 time is
Compound. What's the third one?
triple.
Triple, yeah.
Compound triple.
What's 6/8 then?
6/8 is compound. How many groups of 3?
Compound simple.
It's duple.
It's easier if you have it written down.
Wait, simple duple. What's 6/8 3?
6/8 is compound duple. Because 6 can break down into 2 groups of 3. You have 1, 2, 3 is 1, 4, 5, 6. 2 groups of 3. Okay, so compound means it's in groups. Duple because it's 2 groups. Okay? Is that clear or do I need to do more? Alyssa? You're good? Claire? Yeah?
We have to put bar lines and measure.
There is a whole chunk on rhythm. Okay, that I think we're good. Okay, so the rhythm section, you have to add bar lines. You have things that you have to group, or you have to add in rests, grouped correctly. And you have to complete the following table. So remember in your work where it said complete the following tables, you had to label it as simple quadruple, 4 quarter note beats per measure. Okay, so that like 6/8 time, this would be compound duple. How many beats? 2 groups. But in 6/8 time, what is in that measure? How many whats? 6/8 notes per measure. Okay, if I'm in 3/4 time, what's that called? Simple, triple, and what's in the measure? 3 quarter notes, yeah.
For time, that they can't, 2 and 3 can't do them together. Beats 2 and 3 can't be together.
Yeah. 2 and 3 can't be together, and then if you're in 3/4 time, you can't link. Yeah, 2 and 3. Same thing. 2 and 3. Mm-hmm. In 6/8 time, you want everything grouped in 3s. Okay, so anytime you're using compound time, everything should be grouped in 3s, and everything should be barred in 3s. Okay? When you're in simple time, everything should be barred as one individual beat. Okay, so for example, I'm just going to do a couple of these and then you can add the bar lines. Sorry, I guess I should switch back to black. So we're in 3/4 time.
Compound is barred at 3, and simple is
Simple is barred as 1 beat. 1 beat at a time is barred together. And that helps you when you're adding bar lines, by the way.
1 beat like a quarter note.
Yeah. Yeah. Or it's whatever the bottom number is. So 3/4 time, every quarter note would be barred together. Okay? In 6/8 time, you want them to be in groups of 3/8 notes. Yeah. If you're in, say, 3/16 time, then everything needs to be in groups of 16th notes. Like at 1/16 is a beat. So that would be grouped together. But I'm going to do a couple examples. So, lost my count. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Just for example, here we go. Okay, so if you had this example and you wanted to add bar lines, I'm going to let you add the bar lines for this one. The big thing to notice is where things are grouped together. Notice that this is grouped together. So how many beats is that? 1. It's all grouped together. This is grouped together. So how many beats? 1. So now when you're adding bar lines, you can go 1, 2, 3.
After?
9. Good. So that grouping actually helped you figure out where to add the bar line because you know that it's grouped as 1 beat. Okay, because we're in 3/4 time. So in 3/4 time, a quarter note is equal to 1 beat. So everything's grouped as 1 quarter note beat. So now we have a dotted quarter and the eighth. So that together makes how many beats?
2.
2. This is
1.
1. So that's a total of
3.
bar line. And then what goes at the end? Double bar line. That's it. It's beautiful. Good. So where that's very, very helpful is, for example, we're in 2/2 time, and I have this, and then I have something like this. Yeah.
If you have a 16th note with only 3 bars, you know what I mean? Like, you know, there's 4 bars in the 16th. Like, sometimes you get one with 3. You know what I mean?
No. I'm sorry. Tell me again.
I've read that in theory.
Okay.
See your 16th note?
Yeah.
Or your 2 connected 8th. There'd be like 3.
So that would be compound time because compound is in 3s.
Would that count as 1 quarter note?
No, it would count as 3/8 notes. Okay.
Mr. Cool, report to the main office. Mr. Cool.
Okay. So you have something like this. Okay. 1, 2, 2, 1, 2, 2. Okay. This was a terrible example. I'm sorry. Okay, so something like this, and we need to add bar lines in. So you know that we're in 2/2 time. So in 2/2 time, a half note gets 1 beat. So this is half a beat. This is 1 beat. This is 1 beat. This is half, and this is half. So,
Would it be like 1 is like 2 of them are 1 and then 2 of them are 1? So that's like 2 half, 2 8 notes are 1.
2/8 notes make 1 quarter, but we're in 2/2 time, so a half note is equal to 1 beat. So this shows, just sit for one more second, this shows that we must have a pickup beat. Because if you count 1, 2 and a half, you'd end up with a line here, right? And we can't do that. So you put a pickup beat in, and now it works. Okay. Okay, so the pickup beats will help you with that. I'll go over the rest of the time tomorrow. I'm sorry if you were not planning on coming, but there's only a little bit left. Thank you.
So is it just
Just talking about times and then you having time to study and ask any questions you have to ask or...
Made with Doodlecast Pro.